Hey, hey, Kingdom Dream Chasers. I have such a treat for you today. This is one of my online besties. We've never met in person before, and we really don't even know each other, but I love this woman. I told her today I think I have a girl crush on her. And the truth is, there is not a post that she doesn't put out that I don't find deeply impactful, hilarious, or whatever it is. She and I, it's like a brother from another mother or whatever it is, I just feel such a kindred spirit with her. And we live on opposite sides of the country. We've never met in person, but here we are. And I'm just so excited to introduce you to her. So, Sonia Molina, I'm introducing our beautiful friend. And we are going to be talking again about freedom. But this time we're going to be talking with a real life, very successful network marketer. And we're going to be hearing how freedom has impacted her journey and her success. So allow me please to introduce Sonia Molina. She lives in sunny California. She's a wife, mama of two grown boys, a top network marketing leader with over 25 years in the industry, leading and mentoring thousands of women and men in their business. She's also a John Maxwell coach, mentor, and mindset coach. She says, I love helping people get out of their own way by building their mindset skills so it can be used to their they can be used to their fullest potential. She says, I love learning and I'm obsessed with personal development. Since before I even knew it was called personal development, I can relate. I knew one day that I would use all of those years of learning to grow to the top and help others to do the same. I truly believe God has a purpose and plan for each of us. And by showing up every single day, we can show Him that we are intentionally fulfilling His purpose in our lives. So beautiful. Welcome, Sonia.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Gail. Honestly, when you reached out to me for this interview, I was just so humbled and so honored that, Gail Root, because I feel like we are kindred spirits as well. And I feel like, gosh, I love everything that you posted too. And I think that's why we get along so well. And I just truly feel that God is not a God of accidents or coincidences, that we're supposed to have met. So
Amen.
I also want to thank you for what you pour out into the world for Kingdom entrepreneurs, because honestly, it's where we make the difference, right? So thank you so much for
Thank you so
here.
much, Sonia. So, we've been talking this month about freedom.
Okay.
And specifically, we've been having, different conversations around the topic. But I'd love to, you and I spoke about your brand.
Mhm.
As I was before we even started, I was sharing with Sonia how much I love her posts and how connected I feel to her. And if you would share, let's just start there. Kind of, you got the freedom
Yeah.
to kind of leave maybe the world's pattern and just follow what you were led. I'll let you just introduce that to everyone.
Yeah, so recently, I mean, because we're as we are as entrepreneurs, on social media, so many times you see courses or programs where it's like, build your brand, you got to stick with your brand, and you're not the company, you're your brand. And I'm like, you get so confused. It's like, what does this mean? And basically, I mean, yes, I was doing well on social media, but I started praying about it. It's like, God, what is it that you want me to post? What is it that speaks to people? What does that look like to me on when I present myself to on social media platforms? And so all of a sudden it occurred to me that it's like, throw out the brand, throw out the cookie cutter, copy and paste. These are your colors, these are your brand. Now that's important, don't get me wrong, but are we losing that identity of who we are?
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, and gave myself a quiz. If I were to write myself on paper, what would that look like?
Oh,
I'm a faith, a woman of faith. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm funny. I like to think I'm funny. I'm
you are.
to be inspirational. I like to, share my journey of life with people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
somewhere along the road, there are going to be people that will connect with me, and I will find those people and that will connect with me and maybe spark a conversation or maybe hit that emotional button, because really, in all actuality, we are to be that heart connector for
Yes.
people, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's what I did. I just kind of threw away what society tells us we're to do and just
Yes.
started doing my own thing. And so with that, and I'm not really about like all the followers, but God did a thing here for me. And I just hit 10,000, followers, which I was like, okay, God, that was not me. That was you.
You. Yeah.
letting go and having the freedom of getting away what society tells us to do.
And I think what you just described, Sonia, is you created an authentic brand.
Yeah, yeah,
Because, I think sometimes we try so hard, and
right,
it's in the trying that we get boxed in, and
right,
it feels rigid and it feels inauthentic.
right.
One of the gals who coaches with me, she's passionate about your authentic brand. And I
Mhm,
think, and she too, when
mhm,
she finally threw it all away and just said, you know what, this is who I am.
mhm, mhm.
This is what I'm just going in on me, and without even realizing it, like you, she was free,
Right.
ladies, free. She set herself free to create that authentic brand, and boom, then her followers went, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I truly believe that, and it's like God does not want us to be a cookie cutter. He didn't create us to be a cookie cutter, and it's like my DNA is not your DNA, and it's like show up and show the world who you are. And I used to say to myself, I'm like, do you remember if you feel this way, maybe you can relate, where it's like, God, what is my purpose? What is my passion? What am I here for? Right? I mean, we've all felt that at some time or another.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, okay, I heard somewhere, and I wish I can give the credit where credit is due,
Mhm.
but basically passion is like pass I on,
Oh.
right?
Oh,
So
oh,
passion is that I am to pass myself on,
yes.
right? Does that not bring tears and chills to you? I
It
mean,
does.
and it feels like, so many people are like, there's like on this quest where it's like, what's my purpose? What passion? What's my purpose? But
Yeah.
it's like, what if we were just being ourselves? And then,
Exactly, because it's your passing ourselves on. Is what does that mean? Ourselves is our story.
yes,
It's whatever experiences that God has allowed us to have, some of them not so fun, but
yes,
they have been what they've created the overcomer in us. They've created the fight in us. They've created the passion in us to help another woman to succeed. Oh, it's just so exciting to talk to you.
yeah,
All right, you know what? I've got to go here because one of the podcast series that I did that really kind of blew up and people went, whatever. It was one of those moments just like this where I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm saying it. I'm
mhm,
saying it. And it
mhm,
was all about how toxic um, our mindsets can be around in our bodies, how that those toxic things affect our business.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so it took a deep dive on that. But anyway,
mhm.
you and I have talked about health.
Yeah.
um, I've watched your journey a little bit, and I want you to try to, and I know it's kind of fresh for you, but I want you to try to, or I see it that way, but try to frame for everybody the freedom that you've gained
Mhm,
in your health,
mhm, mhm,
um, how it's been impacting
mhm,
your journey in your business.
mhm.
Because
Okay.
I believe they're intimately connected.
I do too. I do too. And it's like if we're not healthy, if our mindset is not where it should be, right? God centered and strong, and we're not going to work to our full potential. Okay.
Exactly.
And so in January, I said I'm going on a journey, and I'm going to take people along with me. And I said, okay, my son is getting married September 28th. And I just thought, you know what? I want to be on that dance floor all night long without pupping. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to see how far I can go and be in the best shape of my life, and we'll see how it goes. But what it turned out to be, Gail, is that I discovered myself,
Mm,
and I discovered like what God has planned for me in a bigger realm. So
wow.
it wasn't about the dress, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't about me dancing on the floor without huffing and puffing. It was about who he was molding me to be
Yes.
and who he wanted me to be for other people.
Yes.
And I told myself, okay, I can't motivate people, but maybe I can inspire them. Maybe
Fire.
I can light that spark for them to help start on their own health journey.
Mhm.
Because what good are we going to do if we're not in our best shapes of our life, right? We
Exactly.
can't live up to God's full potential for our lives and pass and that passion they're passing I on, right?
I I
And
love
so
it.
it just morphed into something greater than myself.
Mhm.
So I said, I'm going to chronicle every single day in my Facebook stories. I go there sweaty and gross, and my hair just pulled up where it's like I just rolled out of bed because I just did. And people could relate to my humanness.
Yeah.
right? I'm not trying to be an expert.
Mhm.
I want to relate to people that I'm just an ordinary person. I never said average because average is not in the Bible.
No, no.
I said I just want to be an ordinary person that people can relate to and
Yeah.
say, if she could do it, I could do it. So,
So beautiful. I want to go back to this of course our mindset. So we know when we're not feeling well. It could be body shame, it could be we're just not eating right, it could be whatever's going on physically.
mhm,
Um how do you quantify now that you're in this place? You it's 6 months, right? You've been on this journey, and
mhm,
there's two things I want to, but this is the first one. So the first one is how if you could try to give someone a number to
mhm,
quantify what percentage more effective and efficient, if you had to, do you
mhm,
feel you are in your business in this new
mhm.
energized, committed, healthy body?
Oh, tenfold,
Well, yeah,
tenfold,
yeah.
because my mind is clear. I'm more focused.
Mhm,
I'm more disciplined.
mhm.
I'm more consistent. Everything that I do with my health wise rolls right into business.
Exactly, and that's exactly where I was going with this because we try to, and I won't go down a rabbit trail here, but I think the church has got us kind of compartmentalizing ourselves, and we're not. We're all it's so interconnected, and so we try to say, "Oh, my health doesn't really matter. I don't want to, I don't deal with that. I just got to focus on my business."
Mhm.
But it does matter. It matters a ton. And what I love, I don't know if you care for this expression, but I love like God tricked me. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I think he kinda does that. So, what I was kind of laughing, I would be you,
Mhm.
my boys are 26, 25, and 23,
Yeah.
and so when that day comes and I'm thinking about the dress and I'm thinking about the dance floor, right? Mother of the groom,
Uh-huh.
um, I'll do that, but then look what he did. It's
Mhm.
like he knew that that would drive you initially.
Mhm.
He knew it, and then so that gets us going, right? And then he's like, "Ooh, but I've got so much
Mhm. Yes.
there's so much more here."
Yes, yes, yes. And if I can just tell you, like people coming into my inbox that were like, "How do you get started? What do you do?" And it's like all this, all these messages, and I'm like, "Oh," my husband says, "You know what? Maybe this is what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe God is moving you in a different path to
Yeah.
where if he can take you
Mhm.
and show people this is where I started, this is where I'm at, but
Yeah.
this is where I am at going."
Yes.
Right? And taking people because everybody wants to feel connected. Everybody wants to feel important. Everybody wants to be seen. And when
Yes.
I respond, it's like, you are beautiful as you are, but let's make it to where you are going to be healthy and strong, not just for your children, but for your grandchildren as well.
Yes. Yes.
And so,
One of my favorite, client stories is we were talking about the niche, and she was in wellness,
yeah.
and we are trying to find that story that just, some
Mhm,
people call it a conversion story or whatever, just that story that made her light up when she told it. And
mhm.
so we're coaching and we're talking, and you're gonna love this. You're so gonna love this. Her name is Joyce Ann,
Uh-huh.
and she's a grandma, and I'm not gonna get the story, forgive me if she's listening to this. Forgive me, Joyce Ann, I won't get it perfect, but I'll get the heart of it. And
Uh-huh.
that is so she's got a little grandson, and let's say he's 6,
Uh-huh.
and she has other, um there's other grandparents in his life,
Mhm.
but he came to her one day and he said, um, Granny Annie, this is what they call her, Joyce Ann, Granny Annie. He says, "Granny Annie, will you jump on trampoline with me?"
Uh-huh.
And as cute as she tells the story, what really happened in that moment was she realized that of those grandparents, she's the only one he would ask.
Oh, yikes. Yep. Yeah.
This little boy knew, this little child knew
Yeah.
in a little child way that he couldn't ask the others.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
he understood that he could ask her. And
Mhm.
what happened to her in that moment wasn't this, like, proud moment, like patting herself on on the back. It was
Yeah.
this moment that she wanted everyone she knows, it's in that second half of life, to believe that they too could
Yeah.
have that Granny Annie moment where,
Yes.
"I wanna be that granny on the trampoline."
Yes, yes, yes. And a lot of times people think that it's for vanity, right? It's like, oh, you want to look good in your jeans and your shirt. And it's not, has nothing to do with that. Yes, we do. Yes, I do want to look good, but
Yeah,
that's not the forefront of my purpose of this,
exactly.
and so I thought, I've never felt better. I've never slept better. I've never thought better. I'm just like all these, benefits of just moving your body. And
Right.
so I think that too, I will be that Granny Annie, in the future because that's what I want. I want to leave a legacy to where my grandchildren
Yes.
say the same thing. I remember grandma, whatever, grandma was
Yeah.
well, playing on the floor with me or running, whatever, alongside me on my bike or whatever. And those are the things
Yes.
the most
Freedom.
freedom.
That's freedom. That's freedom. Those freedom our health brings such freedom of choices.
Yes.
So powerful. All right,
Yes.
let's step into business a little bit more here. And
Mhm.
I know you have been, oh my gosh, in the industry is as long as I have been in the industry of direct sales and network marketing, and you moved into coaching.
Yes. Mhm.
Um, Tell us about, and I know you're in beauty and wellness.
Mhm.
Tell everybody about if you could bottle
Mhm.
the key attributes, Sonia, that you know now,
Mhm.
that makes a successful businesswoman,
Mhm.
um, kingdom entrepreneur,
Mhm.
right? If
Mhm.
you could bottle that, and I'm totally putting you on the spot here, but you're a pro.
Mhm.
How would you number off? What would be some of the top things in that bottle?
Mhm. I think um, getting rid of comparison
Mm, mm,
and I think a lot of times women who see other successful women,
yes.
they compare themselves with them. And I think that to me, and here's another thing that I learned from somebody, is that comparison is comparison.
Ooh, wow.
And I was just like, okay, I'm not her. I'm not her. All I can be is me. And so when I knew what I can do and what my strengths were, it was the comparison and also the confidence, right? Because now you have this confidence, and then it's like, okay, Sonia, I know what your strengths are. Let's not work on the weaknesses or things that you think you're weak at. Let's work on your strengths
Yes.
and whatever you can. And it's like then another strength will come out. It's like, whoa, I never knew that I could do that before, right? And the consistency.
Yeah.
So now you have, the comparison that you got rid of. Now you have this newfound confidence that you was bottled up that now is free, right? And now the
Yeah.
consistency of showing up every single day where people think, oh my gosh, she is a pro. No, I'm not. I'm just a little girl from South End Street on the other side of the track that grew into what God created her to be, right?
Mm,
And just
mm,
showing that dedication and showing people that, you know, anybody, wherever they're walking in life,
mm,
can grab hold of who they are and who God created them to be and be a success as long as you remember your why.
yeah.
I don't know if that's number 4 or 5, but always know that you had a number, your why. Uh,
Yeah.
and I remember, if I can just give you a backstory,
Yeah.
I was
Please.
I was in the dental field for 15 years, and I thought that was going to be my career. I loved it. I just it was my jam. Okay. And then suddenly I got sick and I could not walk. I went to pick up my son. I had 15 minutes to run to the school, take him to daycare, but I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Okay. So that's the backstory. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Well, I got sick and that pushed me into being a stay-at-home mom.
Mhm,
Not my ideal situation. So my boss let me go, and now I'm dealing with multiple sclerosis diagnosis. Okay.
mhm.
So I said, okay, God, what am I going to do? I've gone from, a lucrative income to now not being able to walk and possibly in a wheelchair.
Mm,
And so he said, trust me. And I
mm,
could hear those words clear
mm.
as day. And I said, okay. So back then, I looked in the want ads. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I remember.
Gonna hire me, God, I'm sick. I can't, I can barely hold my legs up. I mean, what am I gonna do? And I saw direct sales, a direct sales, own your own business, home party plan. And I thought, that's it. I could do
I'm
this. So I went to I signed up, had no idea what I was doing, but all I knew is I had to do this My
Yeah.
why was big. I wasn't comparing myself to anybody else because nobody else was doing this, right? And I just did it.
Mhm.
And little by little, I would go and to these parties in a chair and I would just literally say, "This is my candle, blah, 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 blah." And I went to the top of the company and I said, "Okay, God, whatever it is, bring it on.
Mhm.
You're with me.
Mhm.
I'm show people." And so I thought to myself, God, you are showing off now.
Yes, yes.
You are showing off. Me being a stay-at-home mom, yes, I'm not in the right health, right, or my perfect health, but I knew that He had my back. I knew that He had me, and
Yes.
He opened a whole new. I would not be here today, sitting here before you, had I still been in that dental career.
Mm.
So God had this unexpected blessing for me, which turned into something that was so great and has changed my life in so many ways and morphed into coaching and showing who I was supposed to be. And my passion is passing I on through my business opportunity and
Mhm.
through my coaching and showing people who they were meant to be.
Yes.
Right. And so now it's like my health is all better. God has restored that in miraculous ways. And I'm just living my purpose, you know? So
Wow, wow, and so similar. I mean, I
yeah.
was home with the boys, I got into party plan, had no idea what I was doing, had this crazy success, and then we bought a brick and mortar business, and I started having health issues, and,
Oh,
God brought some healing in that, but that was like a major detour.
yeah.
It was for me, it felt like a major detour, but God was like, "Girl, this isn't a detour. I know exactly what I'm
Yeah,
doing," you know?
exactly. Yes, yes.
Now looking back, he's like, "See, if
Yes,
you wouldn't have had that, and that happen, how could you be doing this right now?" And it was like, "Oh my gosh."
yes.
So it's so amazing. I wanna circle back because literally I wrote down, I was just doing some freehand things about freedom, and one of the things as entrepreneurs, freedom of what other people think,
Mhm. Yes, yes.
and that freedom from comparison. It is, we hear that comparing is the thief of joy.
Mhm, mhm.
And the truth is, if we really believe God is who He says He is, then I will never be or supposed to be like anyone else.
Mhm, mhm,
He's that unique. We are all that unique. And
mhm,
so if we walk in our true identity, no one can take from you
mhm.
what God has for you.
Right.
Only we can keep ourselves from believing that it's there
Yeah.
and missing the blessing. And so this idea of comparison is such an attack,
Mhm,
such
mhm.
a lie, and it's so pervasive, and it keeps so many bound because they look. Oh, and the other thing that you said that just, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
I think we're trained to look at our defects.
Yeah.
On my coaching calls, it's like the first thing they have to share is their wins for the week. And
Mhm.
sometimes the hardest part the hardest part for people to share what went well. All they wanna do is tell me what's not going well, and they wanna work on fixing that. And
Yeah.
it's no, we've gotta focus on our strengths. We've gotta
Yes.
focus on what is going well, because
Mhm.
that's when we celebrate God, and as you said, more opportunities
Yeah.
come.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if I can put an analogy out there, my son he was a professional baseball player. And so when they're coaching him and in his trainings, he doesn't work on his weakest pitch. He strengthens his best pitch.
Ooh, yes.
And so that's what I think for us is what are our strengths and then just keep building on that and building on that and building on that. Pretty soon people are going to look at you like, wow, she's really good at this.
Yes.
And that's because I'm not worried about like trying to strengthen all the 10 weaknesses. I'm building on my 3 or 4 or 5 strengths, whatever it is. Right. And so, yeah, and I think that getting back to what other people think,
Yeah.
girl, I was held hostage in
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, 100%.
Oh, how many women are still?
It's heartbreaking.
We just got to show up, and that's why I always post. Forget about what other people, OPO, what other people think,
Yeah,
right? Because literally, that's going to hold you hostage. That's not going to help you fulfill your destiny and why you were supposed to be here. And
exactly.
so yeah, and and then like getting back to a job. A job is what you get paid for, but a calling is what you're made for.
Yeah, made for. Love it.
Right. And so that's why it's like now I'm fulfilling my calling. And
Yeah.
so So there's just so many different layers to this, right? It's just
Yes. Oh, Sonia, this has been so incredible. And I want to, I had I want to wrap up with this. And of course, I'm going to turn it back over to you and let you talk about how people can connect with you because I know they're going to want to.
Mhm,
And, but I had a team and one of my leaders, there was an issue going on and I was training a conference and
mhm,
the company paired me, God,
mhm.
with this beautiful woman of Christ. And I just bore my soul to her. I was just heavy hearted and I just poured it all out. And it wasn't comparison, but it was what other people might be thinking. I was making up all these stories and it was literally keeping me up at night. And she looked at me and I swear it was the Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
She looked at me with these bold, powerful eyes, and she got my face and she said, "We live for the audience of one."
amen. Yes,
And I'm
yes,
telling you, literally in that moment, and I've got chills all over my body right now, something broke off me
yeah,
in that moment, and a new freedom came.
yes.
Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't occur to me to be concerned about what other people think, but I'm not held hostage by it anymore.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, it's absolutely. And I think that that's why it's like even posting a selfie, people are like, "Oh, that's so conceited." No, it's like this is what God created you to show up.
Yes.
Be strong, be brave,
Yes.
be confidence because your selfie is going to say, well, okay, if she could do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like, because we want to be examples of what
Yes.
people can do, right?
Yes.
So I love your story. I really love that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been amazing, and I know a lot of women are gonna wanna connect with you. So please tell them, and I'll drop this in the show notes. This is gonna be a few places. There's gonna be a podcast episode of it. It's on the YouTube channel, and it'll be in a Facebook group. So the little notes will be there. So how do they connect with you?
Okay, so on Facebook, you can find me as Sonia Leon Molina. That's my regular Facebook, and you can email me, contact Sonia Molina at gmail.com. And yeah, if that's that I don't have a website. I mean, I'm usually just on social media, and they can message me if they like. And yeah, so
Perfect. Yes, follow her. You will adore everything she posts. I'm telling you, you're just going to be so inspired by her.
oh,
And,
thank
I thank you so much, and you're just wrapping I feel like we've taken our freedom box and we've just added the beautiful Sonia bow on the top.
Well, thank you, Gail, for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure, and it was all mine. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're a dear. Thank you so much. All right, ladies, go out there and chase those kingdom dreams.
Okay. Yay.